Are you overly critical of yourself? Do you say really mean things to yourself in your head? Or maybe out loud? Whatever. To each his own. Um, but seriously, do you say things to yourself that you wouldn't even say to an enemy? Never mind your friends. Yeah, well, that's me too. Or at least it was. I'm a lot better at it. I still once in a while find I might indulge in a little self-criticism, but it's certainly a lot better and a lot less than it ever was. So how to stop? How? First of all, for me, my childhood was pretty traumatic in many ways. I'm sure like a lot of you, if not all of you, my mom was not mentally well. Um, she lost two babies that went, they were full-term pregnancies. Well, one was full-term and born and then didn't make it. And the other one, I think after that, was almost full-term and didn't make it. In any event, by the time I came around, I think what happened was she went into severe postpartum depression. And back then, okay, I'm a little older, let's not discuss how many years, but anyway, a number of years ago, back then they gave Valium for depression. Oh, that's a good idea. That'll work. So anyway, moving on. So my mom was severely depressed, and I don't know if you're aware, but often depression is anger turned inward. So she was pretty angry. And then my dad left when I was like 3 or 4. And soon after, the few years after that, my two older siblings who were much older than me got married a month apart. And my brother that same year went off to college. So it was just my mom and I. Yay. So my mom was either raging, like hitting me with something or slamming my hand in a door or doing all kinds of crazy things or sleeping from depression. Yeah. So consequently, I had slightly low self-esteem, let's say. Shocker. And I also, was a huge perfectionist, which often comes from our childhoods that are traumatic or difficult. We don't feel loved, so we try to be perfect to get love. Boy, did I try. Let me tell you something. I tried everything. If there was a way to be perfect, I was a straight A student. I was really smart. I did this, I did that. In my sophomore year of high school, I was in the marching band. I twirled a flag. I was in the drama club. I was president of the class. I was in student council. I was also, I was in drama. I said that already. Anyway, so when I won president of the class, it was huge to me. It was such a big deal because I had been such a nerd in grammar school and like that shy kid that a lot of people made fun of. And so here I got elected president of the class. It was like Christmas and winning the lottery and a popularity contest, again, sophomore year, all at once. It was a dream come true. And I called my mom. I don't know what time it was, 8:15, 8:30 maybe. It was soon after school started. And I called her to tell her, I was like, Mom, I won. I'm president of the class. And she said to me, "You woke me up for this?" Click. So there's you get the idea of my childhood. Again, probably like many of you, and God forbid I do not wish this on you, but so many people have had 10 times worse things than what I went through. In any event, often when you don't feel loved, you try to be you try to be perfect. So that's one thing I did. So think about trying to be perfect. Let me let you in on a little secret. You're never going to be perfect. Never. You're human. I'm human. Within us is divinity, and that divinity is perfect. But in our humanness, we're never going to be perfect. And actually, our imperfection is perfect. All our mistakes, all our foibles, all our screwing up is perfect. But anyway, so sorry to disappoint you. You're never going to be perfect. At least not in the sense that your ego wants you to be. So one, I wanted to be perfect. Two, human, well, damn, not going to be perfect. So I was holding myself up to standards I would never hold anybody else up to. And guess what? It was a setup because I was never going to meet them. So once I realized that helped a lot. Like, one, recognizing I will never be perfect. Let it go. It's okay. You're not perfect. Give yourself a break. Give yourself, a little compassion, a little care. The second thing I realized was when you are a perfectionist like that and when you're holding yourself up to these high standards, you're often looking from this moment into a past moment. And you're saying to yourself, see if these words sound familiar to you. I should have known better. Do you say that to yourself sometimes? Here's another secret. You shouldn't have known better, and you didn't know better. So cut out saying that to yourself. You were in a different moment. It's like I'm going to go back to high school. Fun times. It's like a senior in high school talking to a first grader. You should have known algebra. How did you not know how to do that algebra problem? I'm a first grader. Yeah. In that moment, whatever that moment was, whether it was an hour ago, a day ago, a month, a year, 20 years ago, whatever the moment is, it's very easy from this moment, knowing what you know in this moment, to judge that moment. But they're two different moments, and you didn't know what you know now. And if you could have done differently, you would have, but you couldn't because you had a certain set of beliefs, or you had a certain perspective in that moment, thinking you were doing the best you possibly could. So just give yourself a break already. I'm talking to myself too. Give yourself a break. This is this moment, and it's really easy to look back and say, I should have known better, or I should have done it differently. No, you shouldn't have, because it's a different moment. You know different things in this moment now than you did then. You were a first grader, you don't know algebra. Done. And then the other thing that helped me stop being so hard on myself was like recognizing my motivation. So stop for a second and really feel into, like, think about a moment that you judge yourself for, right? And from this moment now, as you're in that judgment, or the next time you catch yourself being judgmental to yourself with that self-critical voice, you should have known better, you should have done this, should have done that, shouldn't have said that. Stop for a second and just take a deep breath and feel into, why would I say these things to myself? What am I getting out of it? Am I trying to be more perfect? Am I trying to avoid rejection? Am I trying to avoid failure? Am I trying to keep myself down because that's safe and I know what being, small and like this is, and I want to stay there in some way because it's keeping me from an unknown or trying something new? So just really stop for a minute, take a deep breath, and just get really curious. Not another, beating yourself up kind of way, like, why are you beating yourself up again? No, just get really curious. What am I avoiding? How am I coping? What is this for? What am I trying to get out of it? And when you recognize the motivation, at least for me, when I saw how ridiculous it was to try and be more perfect, as if I could ever be perfect, then I started laughing at myself. And the other thing I also recognized is I was still trying to parent myself. And the only way I knew parenting, like the model I had, was unbelievably harsh and punishment. So in another really weird way, I grew up I grew up in a religion, an organized religion, But later, after high school, I realized that religion wasn't for me, but I became very spiritual. And somewhere subconsciously, I was like bargaining with God. Ooh, maybe if I punish myself for my foibles and mistakes and errors, by the way, sin, the actual meaning of the word sin is error. So maybe I was trying to bargain with God. Look, I'm punishing myself for my error and sin. You don't have to punish me and take something else away or do this or do that. So as you can see, when you say it out loud, it's pretty ridiculous. I'm going to bargain with God and punish myself first before he gets to it. First of all, that's not the God I know. And secondly, that's not going to work, even if he was a punishing God. So pretty ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, just next time you catch yourself being hard on yourself and saying those kind of things, just stop for a moment, take a deep breath. Know that you would never say this to a friend. Be your own best friend. And get really curious about what is it stopping you from. Because guess what? Part of life is being rejected. Part of life is not being liked by somebody. Part of life is, whatever the thing is you're trying to avoid. That's part of life. You're not going to avoid it. And beating yourself up at the same time is only going to make it worse. In my personal opinion. I hope this helps.